Willkommen zum neuesten GOLDINVEST Exklusivinterview. Der Zinkproduzent Pasines Resources dürfte dem Publikum von GOLDINVEST längst ein Begriff sein. Nachdem der Jahreswechsel nun etwas zurückliegt, wollen wir heute von CEO Steve Williams hören, was zuletzt in der Türkei erreicht wurde, wie es weitergehen soll und wie es um das Projekt des Unternehmens in Nevada steht. Welcome, Steve.
Hi, Björn.
Steve, we last talked early November at the Edelmetallmesse, if I remember correctly, so in Munich. So I guess now that the new year is a bit older, it's a good time for you to let us know what has been happening since then, both at your Pasinex mine in Turkey and the Spur project in Nevada.
Okay. So maybe we'll start with Turkey, because I think that's probably the big thing right at the moment. So first of all, the Pasinex mine is going ahead. We're mining and producing and selling. We probably very shortly will have a bit of a news release coming out, Bjorn, maybe within a week or so, on updating for the market our plans in terms of the mine this year. So I can't talk too much about that, but I expect that we'll have some news coming out on that. But basically what I can say is the plan with the mine is that it continues this year in production. We have to do quite a lot of mine development this year. In fact, it's already ongoing. Some of our resource that we need to mine is down deep, and so we're doing development to get down to this deeper resource. We expect to be sulfides based on the drilling results, but so there's a lot of work we have to do this year. It's sort of keep it going and as I said, mine and sell, and that's happening as we talk.
Okay.
I guess so. That's the sort of mining picture. Obviously, I think the area of concern, and it's obviously affected our share price amongst other things. We'll come to that, but is what's going on with our partners and some of their financial difficulties.
To be sure, yes.
So maybe I'll talk about that a little bit, Bjorn.
Mm-hmm.
They continue to have financial difficulties, and that's definitely put some stress on us. But I remain very confident. There's a lot of talking going on behind the scenes.
I guess so, yes.
A lot, and I remain very confident that we're going to come up with adequate resolutions. I don't know that you can necessarily get everything resolved in one hit. I think that's unusual, unlikely. But I think what we can do is to make some changes that will be positive and go some way to some of the resolution. And I think that I can't say any more than that right at the moment, but I think that people should be thinking like I'm thinking that that's what's going to happen, that we're going to come up with some changes and work through these problems. And we remain confident. We remain confident on the future, and I hope that we can show as we go through this year to the people that that's what's happened. I guess that's probably the main thing. The other thing to comment on, Bjorn, in terms of Turkey, I've actually just come out of a meeting on exploration, and I must say that again we need to sort of update people, but I must say I'm actually even more positive or confident now than I have been on the prospect of more zinc being found here in the mountains in Turkey. It's not easy, and sometimes some of the lessons are, okay, there's more to learn. There's some more things you need to think about, and there's in exploration sometimes you got to go in and you got to come back out. By that I mean going in is drilling, and then you got to step back out, and you get some things, and other things you don't get. And you've got to reinterpret it, and then maybe look at the bigger picture, and then go back in. But I think there's still quite more zinc to be found in those mountains, and it's just a matter of time. The reason it's not easy, and I've probably said this before in previous interviews, is that these are structurally controlled. Where the mineralization is controlled by faults, and this is a highly faulted part of the world, so it's irregular. It's like this, and at times, it's big, and then times it comes down to something very small, so it pinches and swells. The other problem we've got is it's black and white. We can be, we were talking with some of our geologists the other day, we were looking at because we're back underground in Panagazu, we can actually see where some of our historic drills went into the ground. And our geologist was commenting to us just yesterday, actually, that he's found one of the old drill traces, because we're underground now, and we've been mining. The old drill trace went within 30 centimetres of the mineralisation which we're now mining.
And they didn't find it.
Didn't find it. Came out with a result of 0. That's good and bad. The bad thing is that, it's challenging in terms of exploration. The good thing is it's there. Back to my point, and I'm sorry for the long story, Bjorn, but back to my point, I think there's still quite a lot to be found here, and I think that we're getting smarter.
Okay, thanks for the update there. Well, that covered Turkey, as far as we are able to talk about it at the moment. The other thing, of course, as I mentioned, is the Spur project, it's called nowadays, I think, in Nevada, which you picked up last year and did some preliminary exploration and even drilling on it, and came up with some interesting results that made you think, okay, this might be something different, something potentially bigger than we initially thought. Can you just very shortly recap what you discovered there, and then talk about what you plan to do there this year?
Yeah, we went in thinking it was the same sort of geology as we have here in Turkey, and our first hole indeed validated that. We got some good intercepts of high-grade zinc, a lot like what we see in Turkey with our first hole. But then on our fourth hole, we hit some more zinc, but not as oxide zinc and not as high grade as sulfides at a depth that we didn't think we would see sulfides, and in a completely different rock. So different type of zinc mineralization. So our oxides is what's called a carbonate replacement type zinc, and the sulfides look more like a SEDEX style. So it's quite different. So this is really exciting. I'm not sure, just like I was telling you with the Turkey, I'm not sure that we've got all the answers at the moment in terms of the geology, and I think there's a lot more to be learned. And so there's a process to go through there. But it says that there's zinc there and around, and certainly it says that there's the potential for perhaps an earlier sulfide discovery. It's a bit premature to say that, but that's obviously what's got us excited. So that's what we found, and it's really simple, Bjorn, in that what do we do next is we need to get back and do more work, and specifically more drilling. So, that's what we need to do. That's what we want to do. And that's what we plan to do this year. So,
So you're working on the plans for that.
Yes, we are. In fact, a lot of work is. We know what we want to do. We want to. It's predominantly drilling, but there's also some other things, geophysics and geochemistry to complement that. But yeah, get back and do a more extensive drilling program. Because we've got both the oxide zinc and the sulfide zinc. It's actually a program in two parts, if you like, Bjorn. We need to follow both because both present opportunity. So that's what we need to do. The challenge for us at the moment, Bjorn, which I think you're aware of, and probably some of your viewers are aware of, is that it's the market's not easy at the moment. Our share price is low, so it's all about how much money can we afford to put into the ground, and how far does that take us. So we're working on that at the moment. Obviously, you always want to do more than pragmatically from a financial point of view we probably can end up doing, but we're working on that.
Okay, so you'll be busy on both fronts there. Well, we've talked about the projects, is what I want to say. We talked about Turkey and Nevada and what you can do there. The question for me is then, what is the bigger picture in terms of the zinc market and zinc price for 2019? Well, when we way back started talking about that the zinc market and the zinc price, how it's going to develop, you were one of the first I heard talking about that it has to go up because so much so much offering is going to fall away. Mines are closing, and it happened. The zinc price went up quite substantially. It's come down. What do you think will happen this year? How will this continue?
Yeah, it's been a pretty interesting ride, and I'm not sure that the ride's over yet, Bjorn. I mean, the big picture was that there were mines closing, and then there was a shortage. We ran up to $1.65 US per pound, I think was the peak, and then we came back down by the beginning of this year. I think we were down just under $1.10 US per pound. So we've come back down a long way, and certainly. There's no stockpiles of zinc concentrate, but there's been stockpiles of zinc metal. One of the challenges here is the biggest consumer of zinc in the world is China. They consume a bit over 50% of the world's zinc, and we don't have clear transparency on some of the Chinese stockpiles, and so that's been sort of a difficulty in terms of the pricing on zinc. And as I look at some of the forecasts that people have for this year, they're all around the place. I saw a forecast coming out the other day, a bit over a week ago, predicting the zinc price to rally back up to 2018 peaks and maybe even a bit beyond. I'm not sure I believe that.
Would be nice, no?
Eh?
It would be nice, though.
Oh, it absolutely would be nice, but I'm not sure I fully believe that, and I think because we don't have full transparency on the Chinese situation, but we were already seeing a bit of a rally. We're around $1.25 US per pound, so just in the last couple of weeks, it's been rallying again up, and it does seem that we are going to have a bit of a rally up. Having said that, I think I'm not expecting us to go near the 2018 peak, but I think we're still going to have a solid year. I'm thinking $1.10 to $1.30 US per pound is probably what we're getting this year. I tend to be, I think, a bit conservative on the zinc price. I hope I'm wrong. It would be nice to be higher, but that's what I'm thinking. What I would say is for people like us, in terms of our production in Panagazu, where our costs are down 20-30 cents per pound, so it's extremely low cost operation because it's high grade, and so if it's $1.10 or $1.20, it really doesn't matter to us. Equally, it's going to be very profitable and high margin. Where it does matter, and I think overall, if you look at the, our peers in the market, pretty much most of the peers in the zinc market are seeing pressure on their share price. So where it does matter is market sentiment. And certainly, obviously, if we've got a rally up to sort of 2018 peaks, probably that will bring back a lot of market sentiment. It's the game we're in. We have highs, we have lows. I'm thinking this year is, a moderate year, not a stellar year, but we'll still be profitable. And I think, what we need to do is focus on our game, focus on our issues, particularly our challenges with our partners' financial difficulties in Turkey, and we need to keep working on that. We need to keep working on the exploration in Turkey. I think there's a lot more to be done, and we're going to continue to have profit coming from the mine this year. That's what I would expect, so just keep focusing on our game. Things are tough, share price is low, but focus on our game. Focus on the issues and just keep pushing through, because we can.
Okay, thanks. So what my questions, or a question I like to ask towards the end of an interview is where you see the value for shareholders. Of course, we had a long discussion now for a video at least, and my take would be that the value is, if you're not invested in Pasinex now, and if you believe management can push through the issues, that would be a good time to take a closer look at the company. In your opinion, what do you think?
That's what I would have said. I think we, and not just us, a lot of the people in the zinc space have been beat up, but we've been beat up. And yet the fundamentals, the high-grade mine, the exploration opportunity in Turkey and in Nevada are great. So we just have to focus, as I said, focus on a game, push through our issues, I think there's upside.
Okay. Thank you very much. We'll be sure to check in later in the year, probably not that far away. We'll probably see you in Toronto for PDIC, and then we'll be sure to get the next update. Thanks very much, Steve.
Thanks, Bill.